What nsfw fact did you learn at an embarrassingly late age? In middle school I wasn't uninterested in the opposite sex, surprise I'm gay, or anything sexual. My friend told me women could have multiple orgasms at once, and my only reaction was, that sucks, not knowing what an orgasm was. When I was a sophomore in high school I was awkward and regularly picked on. I thought I was super cool wearing LA Looks hair gel to style my hair with a duck butt. The stuff often dried and peeled and left white chunks in the hair if you touched it too much. So at the lunch table this girl goes, "It looks like you have jizz in your hair," and I didn't know what that word was. So I just said, "Yeah I do," and then nobody talked to me the rest of the day. When I was in high school, my parents, my best friend and I were going somewhere. Parents in the front seat, me and my buddy in the back. While we were driving, my folks were listening to some oldies on the radio. There was an interview with the lead singer of and the Mysterians. Me, I don't understand why it wouldn't get played on the radio. 96, 69. They're just numbers. Awkward pause. My best friend leaned into the front seat and said, "Mr. and Mrs. Groovy Brent, I've got this one." Later that day he explained what I had just asked my parents. That being circumcised didn't mean the head of your dick gets chopped off. I was too old when I found that out. I thought being a bottom was when the guy was on the bottom of the girl. Only realized when someone jokingly asked if I was a power bottom, and I said, "Oh yeah." They never let that one go. For whatever reason I grew up thinking that men were supposed to have 3 testicles. I was a 13-year-old boy before learning the truth. I thought I was deformed, or maybe my third ball just hadn't developed yet somehow. I'm not really sure what I was thinking. I just remember the absolute embarrassment I felt when one of my friends found out about this misunderstanding. Ladies have 3 holes in their bottom half. I had to break it to my 27-year-old friend that she doesn't pee from her clit. I'm an RN, and I told a patient I needed her to put a tampon in before we collected her urine sample because she had vaginal bleeding. She looked at me like I was an absolute idiot and said, "You can't do that. If you put the tampon in, how can the pee get out?" Mind you, this was a 25-year-old woman who also had 2 daughters. It took about 10 minutes of explaining for her to understand that you don't pee out of your vagina. I still don't think she believed me. A girl I know at school, high school, thought that penises had bones in them. Not me, but I had a rather frustrating conversation with someone in high school on the bus about foreskins. He couldn't fathom how someone could be uncircumcised because, and I quote, "How could you even pee then?" The dude literally thought the foreskin covered the entire penis at birth, and you had to be circumcised so you could pee. What a wet dream is. I remember in school being taught, but not knowing what it was. I even remember answering the question on a sex ed TED. Wet dreams are also referred to as nocturnal emissions. Blah blah blah. But I had no idea what they were talking about. I always thought a wet dream meant you peed yourself. Not me, but I had a friend who basically explained that he didn't know that if you had a vagina you still had a urethra. I think he was in high school before he learned otherwise. He just thought that the labia essentially acted as flagellants, and when you needed to pee they would open like a trapdoor and your urine would just fall out. I still laugh about this. I didn't learn what a clitoris was until I read *THE color purple 3 years after my supposed health class in high school, and that I even have a clitoris. That tampons stay inside the woman. I thought they went in the bathroom, popped one in, and it soaked up all the blood, then they removed it, and were good for a few hours. Cum is supposed to leak out of a woman's vagina after 6 if she's walking around. I never really thought of it until my last girlfriend mentioned it, suggesting it was weird. Then I read about it on here, someone mentioning that it's normal. We broke up afterwards, so she still does know. The difference between vulva, labia and clitoris. My brother went the first 22 years of his life thinking that every woman in the entire world got their period during the last week of the month. I was like 22, now 26. When my boyfriend said something about finding my pee hole, I thought I had been peeing out of my vagina. I used to think that every time I had to pee on my period I had to remove my tampon. Edit. I guess I probably knew there were two separate holes, but your lie swear it felt and still feels the same to me. My girlfriend in high school once rubbed my dick over my pants in my truck before a movie. When we talked about how that was later in the evening, she said that was my first hand job. She honestly thought that was a hand job. My first girlfriend never learned where it was, so I didn't think anything of it. My current girlfriend, when we started having sex, she said don't forget the clit, and I went. I had a general idea about sex from a very young age, but didn't officially understand the mechanics of intercourse until I was a young teen after I asked, embarrassingly loud. Women wipe themselves with TP after going pee. Was in my mid-20s when I found that out. My male housemate in college, who was 21 at the time and not a virgin, totally didn't believe me when conversation led to my telling him that girls don't pee out of the same hole the penis goes in. He had to go down to his room and Google it, and then we never spoke of it again. I was raised Catholic. I used to think the sex of the wedding night was so ingrained in the sacrament of marriage that the copulation occurred in some room in the church. I may have even thought the altar at some point, but I think I realized *THAT* at least was silly at an early age. That girls can masturbate too. I learned this at almost 14. I'm female. How many tampons a lady goes through during her period? I was/am 26 when I found out. Thanks to some sub per sex ed, my first boyfriend thought HIV spontaneously generates when two guys have sex. We went to get tested for HIV after we ***KED for the first time, even though we were both virgins before. Not me, but I have two hilarious stories about this. I work with surgeons and often they are sheltered sweethearts. Neither of these stories involve patients around. They are either in the lounge or before or after patients are around. Story 1. A few of us were making silly motorboat jokes to each other. An attending, established doc for those that don't know, mid-40s age, walked in and said, I also motorboat. I have a spot on the lake. Someone had to explain to him what motorboating was. He has 3 kids. Story 2. Ironically, same attending. A resident who is 27 already a doctor, but still training working with attending, was about to get married. He came to the room, boasting about his bachelor party and how it was all his guy friends from growing up, school, and residency. He was ***SOEXCITED* to show us and the attending the video of all his guy friends giving him a golden shower. None of us explained that a champagne shower is not called a golden shower. We just let him go around the room and say things like all my friends gave me a golden shower. Look, I have video. He and the attending were so into the video, and I couldn't help but gawk and hold back extreme laughter at the situation. I quote the IT crowd all the time. Even still now, I'm 22, so it's pretty sad to begin with. Thing is, I'd frequently high-five people and belt out ***EIFFEL tower** when doing so. It'd often be met by a couple of laughs, whether they've seen tick or not. However, when I'd start doing this to my friends who are girls, they'd often pull a weirded out face. Some flat out saying what the F******K. After a quick Google last year I discovered that an Eiffel Tower is a threesome sex act. Not me, but a friend of mine. He was 22 when I slapped him with the fact that women give birth from the vagina. He thought women give birth from the belly button. I just learned from my wife today that women are born with all the eggs they will ever produce in their life. I'm 28. Edit. Apparently there is some relatively recent science that would indicate that women can make new egg cells with stem cells, but how much this contributes is unclear. Make sure to like and subscribe for more daily content. Thanks for watching.